So that's perhaps the best way to, in a low footprint, low impact way, identify updates in source database records, capture those, and then replicate it to a target, and to do it in a pretty fast fashion, sub-second or depending on what the real-time window is that's required. And so as it applies to SAP, it's great because you can use that to copy real-time updates to source SAP modules and copy those, say, to an external analytics target like Snowflake or Databricks or Amazon Redshift. And then you can bring in insights from outside the SAP realm as well. Maybe you could talk about whether that's something that you see as a major trend in Australia, where organizations are trying to enrich the core SAP data on a real-time basis by correlating it with non-SAP data as well.
So what CDC solves is the replication of data timely and reliably. I focus on the word reliably because traditionally you would do the whole CRUD, right? Create, request, update, and delete. So for us, if you want to say, oh, I want to do it myself, write my own scripts, you first need to identify what data is being updated and what data is being created, what data is being deleted. More often than not, then it requires a lot of processing. But when you use CDC, because it's lower level, looking at the database logs, if you like. So whenever there's a change in the source, changes will be replicated from source to target, as opposed to, I think this is what the business logic should be. I'm going to try and transfer the delta manually by coding. Now you're doing a lot of work, then brings with it a lot of technical debt, because we all know projects are always under budget, lack of time, and then you start making shortcuts. The next thing you know, your target is no longer matching, your replica is no longer matching your source. The business lose trust in the data warehouse or a data lake, and then the project just comes to a halt, because if the business doesn't trust the numbers from day one, the project's pretty much. So CDC solves that problem. It's pretty much whatever source you've got, the sort of ODBC database log, it should work, and it will just work with pretty much all the major cloud vendors or on-premise as well. So.
Makes perfect sense. And so what's interesting is that the CDC will also capture the source schema changes, and so you can capture updates, inserts, deletes, added or removed columns, and things like that, so that you're capturing the data values, the additional records, and so forth. But you can also capture fundamental changes to the structure.
Yes, and a lot of it is actually GUI-based, but the select tables drag and drop, as opposed to coding your life away, so to speak. And then when the person leaves, who's going to take care of it? Whereas if it's CDC, click CDC, replicate specifically, it's all GUI-based. And you can see it in action. You can see the stats happening when something changed. You can literally use that to measure the performance. You make a change in the source, you can see it happening in real time, and it gives you the stats as well. So this way you know where's the bottleneck. Is it the network? Is it the storage? Is it the CPU? Whatever it is.
And that's music to the ears of data engineers who, despite having increasing levels of automation with co-pilots and so forth, they're still pretty overburdened. I think I refer to it as the busiest job in IT, because they have proliferating sources, proliferating targets and users and projects and models and data types they need to support. So there are a lot of pressures on data engineers. We did a survey earlier this year asking whether we thought the demand for data engineers would go up or down in the coming 12 months. And 85% of 300 people said it's going to go up.